Today, we're going to be talking about newborn transitions and kind of what happens within those first couple hours to minutes of the baby's life. Today, we're starting off with the respiratory system and its changes in the neonate. The respiratory system is in charge of breathing gas oxygen exchange, moving oxygen into the body, and removing all of the bad stuff out of the body, such as carbon dioxide. When the baby is in utero, two things are happening. Well, a lot of things are happening, but in the respiratory system, they're getting all of their gas exchange through their parent from the placenta. So if you look at this photo right here, you'll notice the placenta and then you'll notice some funky organs over there that will represent baby. So if you look, here is the umbilical cord attached to placenta that is attached to the parent, and then you'll have the umbilical vein and the umbilical arteries. The vein is allowing the nutrients to come to the baby, the oxygen, and those arteries allowing all of the waste and the carbon dioxide to leave the baby from the mom or parent. Going back to this picture, when babies are born, their little alveoli or alveoli are really tight and filled with fluid. So when babies breathe, when they cry, they're opening up their lungs. And there's something that's opening up their lungs or keeping it open is called surfactant. And when they cry, all of the fluid leaves their lungs. And this brings me to the fetal heart and what this looks like. So when the baby is in uterus, their breathing is very different from how it is when they're newborn. When they're a newborn, they have different things that happens. So if you look at the picture on the left, you'll notice this little shunt or this little circle is called the foramen ovale, and this little shunt up here or this little opening is called the ductus arterius. So when the baby is born, when the baby is still in the uterus of the parent, they're not breathing. So everything is just kind of being all over the place. Things are not oxygenated or deoxygenated. That's why this is purple right here. So since the baby's not breathing, they're not using their liver, so everything is going everywhere. However, once baby breathes, once their alveoli is nice and open and fresh, those two little openings are now closed. So now their heart is starting to function as an adult, which is typically left to right. You'll notice that there's a difference of the deoxygenated blood and the oxygenated blood. And again, this is what it looks like. Another picture of what that rotation looks like. Next, we're going to talk about thermal regulation. So, baby is very imperative that babies do have maintain their heat. And when they're born, they cannot. There's very hard for them to maintain that heat by themselves. So here on this picture, it discusses different ways that babies do lose their heat. Convection is basically natural things, kind of allowing baby to be cold and losing their heat. Radiation is heat by nearby places, taking the warmth from the baby. Evaporation is if the baby has like a wet surface on them, allowing that wet surface, such as water, to allow the baby to get cold. And a conduction is nearby things or cold surfaces taking the heat from the baby. That's why parents are encouraged to do skin to skin within the first minutes of baby life and as well as to dry them off if possible. Lastly, we'll be talking about um, glucose regulation. When babies are born or when babies are in utero, they have this large amount of glucose that they need. There's always on tap. They always have it in abundance. In the third trimester, they tend to kind of store up on glucose in the liver. But when they're born and their cord is cut, they no longer are able to maintain that blood sugar levels on their own. So this is where chest milk, breast milk, human milk comes into play. So as well as skin to skin, as I mentioned, that can help with thermal regulation, but this also helps chest milk. Breast milk has nutrients that can help increase the and maintain glucose regulation. That's why it is very important that they get some type of milk to help maintain that, because babies go from having an unlimited supply to only getting that when they nurse and feed.